Hey everyone, during this video you are going to learn how to take ashwagandha. Ashwagandha, this is a root extracted from India as well as places in Africa, and this is one of the most popular nootropic supplements for decreasing stress levels. Think about it like being more calm, being in a state of joy, good energy, sleeping better, and for general health, this is one of the best nootropics out there because there really aren't a lot of side effects. Think about it like a natural herbal remedy, and I can share with you that I've been using it for about 5 years now, and it's really improved my life for the better. In fact, I like it so much that I have it in 3 different forms. I have the KSM 66, and the other 2 very popular forms are another patented extract, the sensorial version, and this one which is fairly new to the market called Shodan. Here's what the powder looks like. You can see it's this like orange yellowish herb, and what's so is it's not something which you would really want to mix with drinks because it doesn't taste great, but at the same time it's not clumpy. In this video, we're going to talk about how to take ashwagandha. I'm going to answer some very popular questions like when during the day is the best time to take it? Are you better off taking it once per day, or should you spread out the dosage during the day? How long can you take ashwagandha? Is this something that's relatively safe to take every single day? And if so, how often should I take time off of it, and how long should I take off during that time span? And then I'm going to give you some tips as far as how to maximize the absorption of this very powerful nootropic. So the first question, when should you take your ashwagandha? It's important to note that ashwagandha has a relatively short half-life. We're talking 2 to 4 hours, which means that 95% of the active compounds in ashwagandha are going to be gone after about 12 hours. So what this means is, optimally, if you really want to get the most out of ashwagandha, you would spread apart your doses by 12 hours. So a practical example would be like 8 a.m. and then again at 8 o'clock p.m. in the evening. However, for most people, this isn't something that they want to stick with, and at the same time, depending on which form of ashwagandha you're taking, they can be somewhat stimulating. Like, you'll find that the active ingredients in ashwagandha are such that some of them are mildly sedating, whereas some of them are mildly stimulating. Like, I'm somebody that I don't like taking ashwagandha before bed personally because I notice that I do feel slightly more alert. However, this is also going to depend on what form of ashwagandha that you're taking. So it's important to recognize the differences. Generally speaking, there are 3 kinds of ashwagandha. The first would be the root powder. The second would be the KSM 66 extract. And then the third would be the sensorial extract. So here's what you want to look out for. In ashwagandha, the primary medicinal property is called withanolides. And the different forms of ashwagandha are going to have different percentages of withanolides each. Like, for example, the sensorial version has the most withanolides at 10%. But what's so is they also don't have a good percentage of some of the more active ingredients, which is one of the reasons why the sensorial version for a lot of people is a bit too sedating. People feel too relaxed, almost feeling demotivated. The KSM 66 version has 5% withanolides, and then the root powder only has 0.5% or less. So with respect to dosing, what's commonly recommended is taking the sensorial version from 200 milligrams to 600 milligrams per day. The KSM 66 version, 300 milligrams to 900 milligrams per day, and the root ground powder is 1 gram to 3 grams, again, during the whole course of a day. Based on what we know about ashwagandha as far as its effectiveness and its half-life, it seems ideal to take it in split doses during the course of the day, like 2 to 3 times per day. However, some users report really good experiences taking it in a single dose, taking it just once per day. If you are to do that, then when should you take it? And there's not a lot of research done on this in order for you to get the best benefit from it. Some people report good experiences when they're taking it once in the morning because first thing in the morning we experience a spike in our cortisol levels. You can make the argument that ashwagandha is applicable then because ashwagandha is going to bring your cortisol levels down, thus allowing you to experience more of a stress-free kind of day and being calmer. However, in a practical sense, from my experience, if you take ashwagandha in a big dose first thing in the morning, you can be somewhat lethargic, a little bit more demotivated than typically. And in the morning, that's the time when I don't really think cortisol is a bad thing. That natural cortisol spike is really responsible for you having a lot of energy without necessarily needing your caffeine. However, though, it is important to note that with ashwagandha, this supplement really works well once you take it longer than 2 weeks. Like, I found that once you've hit that like 14 to 21 day mark that you've regularly been using ashwagandha, it's almost like it's saturated within your system, and you can afford to miss a dose and still feel present in a state of being in a better mood and getting a better sleep quality. Then I would advise you to take it somewhere in the afternoon between 1 to 3 o'clock. That'll be ideal, and that'll be a way in which you'll get the benefits of ashwagandha throughout the later portion of the day when you're typically going to be more stressed out because of whatever occurrences you've had during the course of the day. Whereas if, let's say, you took the whole dose at 8 a.m., you likely wouldn't get all the benefits with respect to giving you a deep, rejuvenating sleep. But for me anyway, I prefer taking my KSM 66 version once at 12 o'clock and once again at 6 o'clock p.m. I generally work out in the morning, and I don't really want to take anything that can be somewhat relaxing pre-workout, which is why you generally wouldn't see KSM 66 or ashwagandha in pre-workout blends. However, there are benefits with body composition as far as improving testosterone level, even improving your thyroid levels, and helping you with general muscle mass. Next, let's answer the question of how long can you take ashwagandha? And there's two ways of going about this. Some people prefer taking what we call a macro cycle, when they take something like 2 months on, followed by a few weeks off, and then resuming again by 2 months, or something called microcycling, whereas they do something like taking 5 days on, like 2 days off. So the practical sense would be weekdays on and weekdays off. And for me anyway, what I generally find best results with is going with the macro cycling. Now, why do we need to do this? The reason why we need to do this is, like most supplements out there, most compounds, what so is our bodies can build somewhat of a tolerance. Your body begins to adapt to specific compounds, and then the compounds just become less effective because you're upregulating the enzymes that your body uses in order to break down the compound. And this is not just in ashwagandha, this is almost across every supplement out there. It's especially known in caffeine or coffee, that you simply need to drink more coffee to get the same benefit. So that's the reason why we want to be on the safe side, and we do want to cycle off of ashwagandha. Quite honestly, I'm against the idea of microcycling and taking a short period of time on followed by a short period of time off, because like I mentioned earlier, once you've taken it every day for about 2 weeks, that's when ashwagandha is really showing its magic and its effectiveness as far as getting all the benefits. How do we maximize the absorption from ashwagandha? Traditionally, it's been recommended that you take ashwagandha along with a fat source because it's fat soluble, and that's why a lot of people use honey and milk with their ashwagandha. However, this really is only applicable, you can say, with the ashwagandha root. I think now a lot of people are taking the extract form, like I mentioned, the KSM 66 version as well as the sensorial version. And fortunately, with these two extracts, they've already been through a process where it's not necessary to take them with food in order for it to be maximally absorbed through your gut lining. So personally, most often, I'm taking ashwagandha KSM 66 on a fasted version as I'm practicing intermittent fasting, and I'm seeing just the same results as I would if I were to have a normal feeding window of eating 4 meals a day. Furthermore, there are studies which suggest that black pepper can actually aid the bioavailability of the ashwagandha, which means it's better absorbed within the body, and you should therefore consume it with pepper. And we're starting to see that in a lot of different blends. What they're doing in particular nootropic bottles is they're pairing black pepper along with ashwagandha. However, I have observed from speaking to people that a lot of people use this blend and experience some stomach upset. So I would not necessarily recommend it. Click subscribe if you haven't already. Drop a comment, even if it's something as simple as a great video. And the way that I'm going to leave you with is an insertion of another video that I've made talking about L-theanine. You'll likely find that helpful, and I'll look forward to seeing you all next time. And then something neat too is it actually enhances alpha brain waves. So this is kind of like, and it may sound a bit far-fetched, but it's like wakeful relaxation, almost like meditation in a pill. That's how L-theanine feels. And it's true, it's been my experience as well. And the studies showed that after only 4 weeks of L-theanine use at only 200 milligrams a day,